All right. Hello, once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bob Turner, and this is the Summit Podcast. And we are rolling through the guests lately. I guess I'm just on fire with this thing and having a bunch of fun with it. Invited a bunch of people on as guests lately, so we're stacking them up like cordwood, as we say here in Maine. Today, I've got my friend Dave Davis from Denver on. And Dave is someone that I came to know through our coaching community at the Rosenberg Group. And he's in Denver, and he's doing a heck of a job with his own business. He's one of our coaching clients, and he's probably one of our most engaged and active guys. And I'm very respectful of Dave because of that. He shows up. So I wanted to get Dave on the podcast just to talk a little bit about business and life. So Dave Davis, welcome to the Summit Podcast, my friend.
Hey, Bob. Great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, let's just get right into it. I got a whole list of questions. You nervous yet?
Not yet.
No, you will be. No, just kidding. Tell us, for people that don't know you, just let us know who you are and what you do, where you're at, and all that stuff.
Well, obviously, we live in Denver, Colorado, and have for the last 25 years. Ever since we've lived in Colorado, I have worked in construction just one way or another. It's what I love into there. And I think that's a fun thing in there that I don't really dread going to the job. Some of the stuff I've learned now, I don't like as much in there, some of the admin stuff in there, but it's what I do. You know what? My wife's family all lives here in Colorado. Mine live some here, but some all over the place. But, I spent a lot of time moving around when I was younger. In there about every 5 years, we'd move somewhere else. Right. Saying I've been in one place for 25 years that's a long, long time on our scale of stuff.
Yeah, well, cool. What pulled you into construction or the trades? What was it that got you in, and what keeps you staying?
I got asked that a while back about what it was why I started in there. A little bit of a story I'm not going to go into real deep here, but my parents got divorced when I was 14 years old. And so I stayed with my mom and my younger brother. And she was a single mom, didn't have any work experience. She was just a mom. And so there came up to where there were things that would break down on the house, and I would have to rely upon my friends' dads to come over. I had one friend who his dad was a plumber, and my grandpa and I would do a lot of things. And I got to thinking about it that I had to just go through and help learn how to fix stuff, learn how to fix pool equipment in stuff. And so that was kind of the very, very start. And then I always liked things that had to do with trades: wood shop, metal shop, auto shop. If it had shop in the back of it, I was in there, and I just learned it. Then when I got into college, I started working, I actually was a janitor for a little while, and started just realizing I loved looking at houses. Even when my wife and I were dating, we would actually go and drive looking at other houses in neighborhoods and saying, oh, look at that one. Oh, look at that. That's great. And so then I started working for realtors, just getting houses ready to sell. I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, this is back in the days, way, way, way before YouTube and the internet. And It was books and VHS tapes. And that's how I learned. I never went to school for any of it, but I just learned by doing lots of trial and error. I learned that when you're rolling out linoleum, a 2-liter bottle of soda is not a good thing to use, because you snag it with a nail and it sprays soda everywhere.
Yep.
19 years old, I didn't realize. I thought I can get a bottle of soda. I'm pretty strong. I figured I can push it down hard enough. Why spend the $50 to rent a roller? Now, that was only one time. Now I know. But you know what? I just started doing things. And then I had people saying, hey, can you take and change out a toilet? Sure. Got no clue how I'm doing it, but it just worked its way up through there. Did that. I mean, then I got to building additions. And then I spent about 8 years working commercial work. So I was renovating clubhouses and outdoor amenities and stuff for apartment complexes, and just kind of worked my way through stuff. And now we're back to doing residential remodeling.
Well, that's cool. It's funny. I like to ask, what people's path was to what they're doing now, right? And yours is, by necessity, kind of an entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yes.
Would you say that entrepreneurial spirit was just kind of ingrained out of necessity? Did it just kind of happen, or was it something where you're like, hey, I'd like to own my own business someday? Or was it born of you working for others and going, this is screwed up. I got to go do this on my own.
I've spent, even from the time when I was really young, I was out taking and hustling, going door to door, mowing lawns and detailing cars. And that
Mm.
was what I did. And I've had some jobs into there where, I was a W-2 employee, but I've even thought about it now. And it's like, right now it's pretty hard. So I have thought, well, maybe I go work for somebody else, but that's just a fleeting moment that it's like, it's not going to give me what it is. So I feel that I've just always worked for myself. And I like the fact that if I really wanted it, I could go out and get it. And, if I'm working for somebody else, I go say, hey, can I get the week off? Oh, no, I can't. Oh, man, that sucks. Now it's like, it just gives me a lot more flexibility with it. It puts a lot more pressure on me than that. But I also feel like that pressure is going to then give me the rewards later on that
Is there,
I'll never get working for somebody else.
yeah, sometimes when you're working for somebody else, it's a different mindset, right? Was there a shift that had to happen, or was there a mindset that you had to outgrow to get to what you're doing now and be on your own journey?
In all honesty, the mindset shift that I've had to go through, I'm actually going through right now with the Rosenberg group and all that. Because before, this was, like I said, 10 years ago, getting work wasn't very hard to do at all. You could actually
Yeah.
do all right just off of word of mouth. And I never advertised. I never did anything. I just did good work and I got referred around. Then now it's very different. It's taken a lot of effort for me to get my head wrapped around. I have to show up for people. People aren't just going to come find me now like they used to. I've got to get out there and kind of get over. It's not even that hard. It's just getting out of the different way of looking at things. And so honestly, that mind shift is happening right now. Have done some of the struggles with it in there. This is the start of a new year in a few days, and just looked at saying, it's time for me to start paddling. I got to paddle like a crazy man now with some real direction. So, um, it's been a process here over the last 6-8 months of realizing that if I'm going to go out and do this in a better way than just being a solopreneur into where I'm doing everything on my own, yeah, I got to do it differently. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a different way of doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting when you come to that realization, like, okay, I'm not hanging on to stuff because, I don't think anybody can do it like I can do it. I'm not hanging on to stuff because I'm a control freak. I'm hanging on to stuff because I'm really in that spot in my business where I'm just trying to grow to the point where I could add someone, right? So
Exactly.
where do you feel like that's about where you are, and it's hard to just kind of get it over the hump, right? So that you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I can catch my breath. I might be able to add that executive assistant, or I might be able to add the maybe it's the runner or the golfer, or the person in the field that
Hmm.
keeps me. We joke with you in our group because and for those of you guys that don't know, Dave's known as Seatbelt Dave in our group because every time he's on one of our calls, he's in his truck, and
Yep.
so that tells us
Here's the
something right
sunglasses
off
too.
right off the bat, sunglasses and a seatbelt. And so he's on the move all the time, still taking time for the calls and everything. But I guess let's flash back. It's been 6 or 8 months since you joined us. What's a
6 months.
lesson that you've learned along the way, maybe that time period, or maybe even before that you wish more contractors knew or could learn?
Oh, gosh. How long do we have for that?
Only till 2026.
I don't want to speak for everybody on here, but for me, it was a sense of pride of being able to say, I built this addition from below the ground all the way to the top of the roof. And I did everything myself except for some MEPs. And that was a real sense of pride for me, taking in, doing things that by myself that people are like, how did you do that? And what that did was that transferred over into now saying, I don't need other people's help. You know what? I'm a man. I will figure it out on my own. I'm not going to take the shortcut or the easy way. I'm just going to work on this myself. and I'm gonna muscle through this. I used to tell myself I'm just gonna keep swinging. I'm just gonna keep swinging until I either get through it or I don't have anything left. And what I learned was that, for one, that's incredibly stupid to take and look at things that way. And two, all it does is burns me out. I started learning that there are other ways of running your business. Part of what I love about construction is I love taking people's problem areas and turning them into something that they brag about and go, wow, this is so nice. And having that hands-on experience. But you just can't always do that. And so realizing that there were other people out there who actually wanted to take and help me out, who were willing to actually spend the time and work with me. I mean, you and I've had some pretty good calls on things. Talking with Steve, there are guys within the group itself that some of them live here in Denver that I have connected with, and they're like, man, let me know. Yeah, you're having a
Yeah.
hard time. Let's talk it out. Let's figure it out. Finding out that there were other people who have done so much more than what, have gotten to the point where I want to get to, and they've been there. And they says, here, let me show you how. My thought was, oh, they're not going to want to show me how to do this. We live in the same city. They're not going to want to help me out. And so I just wouldn't even ask because I was putting in my mind what they were going to say.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, very
Proved them wrong.
unproductive.
Yeah. Proved it wrong.
Yeah. So it's just got, I've had to spend some time getting over it and just saying, what's the best way of doing this? How can I actually make a business? I didn't do this because I wanted to work 70, 80 hours every single week and work most holidays. Or if I'm not working them, I'm worried about them. It's like I'm doing this because I want to take and have some time with my family. I want to have some time doing things I want to do. And part of that is saying, I need help.
Yeah. To me, it looks like you went from being prideful and building the whole house by yourself or the addition, to being prideful and building the whole business by yourself. And it's
It did.
probably because that's always what you've had to do. And so now you have help, man. You have help, and it's pretty cool. Let's talk about the business side of it a little bit more, if you don't mind. What have been some recent wins? I mean, you and I, we talk a lot, but it's oftentimes it's like, what needs to change? What do we got to work on? What's some of the good stuff? I mean, it's been a year, right? It's been a heck of a year for you. Okay. But
Yeah,
there's
it
been
has.
some wins along the way. Okay. So what are some good things that have happened where you kind of said, okay, we're building something real here.
Well, a couple days ago, I actually just signed a job with it's a pretty nice contract on there, and it was somebody that was referred to me by someone else, and I had to take and actually close him, and it wasn't. I'd never closed somebody.
Yeah.
Rosenberg talks a lot about role playing and stuff, and I say I've got no clue. I have never ever ever role played, and they talk about closing him, and this is what you say, and I was like, man, what am I going to say? And so I closed him a couple days ago. And that was, I think, my first one who I didn't know it was, I got a referral from another person who I was
Sure.
doing work for,
Yeah.
but that was it.
You had to go out and sell it. You had to sell it.
I did. And actually, then through talking with them, it's grown into more stuff and more stuff and more stuff to where, he told me, he says, I know you're the right guy for it. And I'm going to go through that.
There you go.
Being able to go out and realize that my job is not to convince people how good I am at my job. It's to convince them that I understand what they want and I'm the guy for them.
There you go.
And so that, I mean, it's not, I signed $1 million contract. It's not that, but that for me was a pretty big win. Taking and closing somebody like I'd never done before. That's a
Yeah,
win for me.
the win there isn't just monetary either. There's a lot there. Like you put your new training to work, right? You implemented, right?
Exactly.
Good. Congratulations. And it feels good, right? To be able to say, okay, this stuff's bought and paid for. I didn't know what I didn't know before. Now I'm in here with this community, this tribe, and bunch of different characters that we are. We have a lot of laughs. We have a lot of fun. We make a lot
Yeah.
of fun of ourselves and one another. We have a blast, but it's out of a place of love, and we all get a little bit better in the mix. That's a great win. What's been a challenge? What's maybe one of your toughest things that you've had to deal with over the past several months?
Realizing that I can't do it on my own
Sure.
and that
Yeah.
I've got to reach out. And that's a big challenge for me, taking and coming to the realization that the way I've done it before doesn't work. Times change and it's not working.
Yeah,
Another
may
one
have worked.
is,
May have worked at a level,
yeah, but
not this one.
not at this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Realizing it's a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be, because before it was easy. It was basically, yeah, hey, here's the name of a guy, he'll take care of you. And it was easy, and it's not. But those have really been challenges. Realizing how much I didn't know
Yeah.
that, it did, you know, we weren't on food stamps or anything into there, but I was like, okay, we're doing all right. But realizing that was not it. And just there was so much about mindset and how to talk, how to treat other people that
Sure.
I never thought about it. I thought I'll dazzle them with my knowledge, and that'll do it. And that's like the last thing that I need to do.
Yeah.
But let my
Yeah.
knowledge come through.
It's funny when you realize that what got you here is not going to get you there. And it
Exactly.
sounds you kind of opened up to, all right, I might have thought I knew what I was doing, but I'm realizing I don't know what I don't know. And once you availed yourself to the community and the coaching, it really seems like that you've really blossomed, not just as a business owner, but as a person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
know you're having better conversations with people in your life. I know you're working on you. And I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked inside coaching communities is that, hey, yeah, we're going to talk about the X's and O's, right? We're going to talk about, hey, do you know your numbers? Right? What's your lead flow and what's your customer acquisition cost? All that stuff, right? But also, like, how he's showing up at home and how he's showing up as a dad, husband, or friend, son, brother, daughter, whatever. Have there been some things there that you've kind of picked up, or that some moments where just being part of a new community has caused you to look inward?
Yeah. One of our calls a while back, Bob, you had told me, you said, you have to get the man right before the business will get right. And that when the man is right, then the business will get right. And so I think about that a lot onto there. The last month has been pretty hard emotionally for me. I know we don't get too deep into here, but it's been really tough for me to have my family, my wife and my son take and open up to me and just say, here's how you've actually been. It
Mm,
was neither time was comfortable at all.
sobering, right?
And heartbreaking is what it was to realize. And then to sit back and look at, um, it's like, well, what do I do now?
Mm.
Just, yeah,
Yeah, you keep
it was
fighting,
hard.
right? Yeah, you keep fighting,
You
man.
know
It's like
what?
you got to get the man right.
It is. And that's what it's been now, is instead of me looking at saying, well, what do I need to say to where you guys feel happy? I mean, that's part of it,
Mm.
but it's more of me looking at myself and saying, what do I feel like when I see this guy in the mirror? And there were a lot of mornings to when I was like, I haven't been happy at all with what I see.
Right.
And then to see, you know, to hear the words coming out of their mouths, I would always say, I want people to be honest with me, even if it doesn't hurt, even if it hurts me a little. I would rather be honest. After those two conversations, I go, I could have done with a little less
I could
honesty.
have backed it.
Back it up a little bit, please.
I'm a lot worse than I thought I was.
It
Yeah,
was.
man.
It,
But I mean,
it
isn't it?
was.
I mean, when you look at the impact you have on people, okay, that's to me, that's what it really comes down to. Like family, friends, coworkers, clients, customers, whatever. They shouldn't feel worse after interacting with you. True. They should feel better,
Exactly.
you know? And sometimes we're the worst to the people that love us the most, and maybe some of that is what you're wrestling with. And thank God
It
that
is.
they told you, man. Thank God they told you. Because there isn't
Yeah.
any business really. Like, and I think you and I talked about this. There isn't any business that's worth that, man. Like you could shut this down, go over here and start selling widgets tomorrow. Do something, right? We're gonna eat next week. I always say that, right? We're gonna eat next week, and that you shouldn't have to pay, and your family shouldn't have to pay the ultimate, price of the relationship, so to speak, for your success, or worse, lack thereof, right? Like I'm trying really hard at this, and nobody, I don't think any, most of the time, guys that I'm involved with, nobody questions their effort, or their commitment, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes the line gets blurred between what's important. Am I right?
Sometimes into there, I wish I could say that I could argue with them about this stuff and say that's not right, but sitting back and saying you're 100% right.
Mm.
And just saying, coming to that, and because I couldn't argue with it. When I was shown the facts about it, I couldn't argue with it, but I was thankful for it. Now I'm thankful for it because
Okay.
I am a person that says, if there's something wrong, I want to know.
Sure.
And and they'll work at fixing it. And it's just was, if you're talking about struggles, that's the
Yeah.
biggest struggle in there.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you sharing that. I wasn't planning on going that deep with you, but I appreciate you sharing
Me either.
that. I'm sure they will too if they watch it and see just how much you care. As a result, frankly, what are you doing about it? Are you changing something, or are you working on
No,
you? Talk to me.
I'm staying exactly the same I was. Everything was fine.
Yeah. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they got no clue.
I am a complete gem to live with.
That's right. Just ask me. I'll tell you.
Wendy and I get along great, right? But I'll tell you this story. We were headed to, we drove out to Texas when we went out last time. And I said something, or was we pulled up to a gas pump or whatever. And we were walking inside, and I'm going, you were just a dick right there, and she looked at me and she said, so that's nice stuff. And she goes, sometimes you can be really difficult. I thought that was a really nice way to say that I'd been a complete prick,
Yeah.
Traveling, no excuse, right? But sometimes you should be thankful that somebody loves you enough to tell you, And that's the way I looked at it. And I'm like, I got to be better. That can't happen, And we can't be tough on the people that love us. Rather, we got to deal them in. We have to, like I've said to her, we got up on the wrong side of the bed one day, and I could tell she was, picking up on it, right? And I just looked at her and said, listen, it's not anything you did. I think I'm just in an ugly mood. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Please bear with me. And she's like, all right, I get it. So sometimes just calling it out. Sounds like you got called on it, and now you're responding.
Yeah. And, part of what it was that I had to do a change in my mind of saying, instead of asking, well, what do I have to do to make this better? What is the Band-Aid I got to throw on this to make this go away?
Right.
Basically, yeah. I have come to the realization that for right now, I'm not asking what is it I need to do to be better. I already got a pretty good idea about it. I would have sometimes to where I would just feel, I think the term is angry, but for me, angry is like throwing things around and raging and stuff like that, but definitely agitated. And I wouldn't know why. And I think that what happened was it got to where that got to be more of my norm. I was more agitated and stuff more often and didn't realize it. And my family would literally, my wife told me, she says, we never knew what day we were going to get. So we didn't interact because, who knows what it was going to be, what was going to happen, be super nice or super not nice.
Yeah.
And
I had a rough day at work, things are not good.
But there wasn't ever anything like that. So, or anything that was never their fault on there. So I've really had to sit back and I make conscious efforts to, instead of enforcing the negative, just saying, be nice. Today's all right. Things are working out. Yeah, it sucks right now, but it's going to get better. It's going to work. It's not going to work itself out. It's that you are capable of becoming a better man. And so that was one that I looked at. And if I would feel kind of that dark feeling inside starting to come up, I'd be like, okay, why am I feeling that way? Usually there was no reason or it was a stupid reason. And so I say, okay, we're not embracing it. Let's do a shift. Let's change the direction. Let's change where my mind is going and think about this differently. And I would have to do that several times a day. And we just had Christmas here at our house. And instead of me isolating myself away and just letting my wife and daughter do it because they love to cook, and I'm all right at boiling water and heating up things in the microwave. And apparently I'm pretty good at washing dishes because that's about what I did for most of the time was washing dishes, and
That's
I
all
made
right.
mashed
Yeah.
potato and I made mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
But it was just instead of looking going, well, I wish I was doing something else. I wish I wasn't having to sit here and cook. I don't like to cook. It was like, you know what? We're all hanging out in the kitchen here. We're having fun, and I'm not being a jerk while I'm here. So it's like, I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
That's awesome, man. What would you say? I mean, if you could go back to 2 years ago, Dave, what do you think he would have needed to hear?
Besides a slap upside the head to say,
Maybe.
I tell myself, don't isolate yourself away. Because that's a little bit over 2 years ago was when I took and left the commercial construction job I had.
Hmm.
And I think I would say be willing to trust in people with your sensitive items. Don't be afraid to tell people, I don't know what I'm doing. This is hard. I am just feeling like crap today. Have some people in there that you can take and call on and just say, I don't need it fixed. I just need someone to listen to me. And that is something I have learned. I've got a few people on there, but one of the things that I realized was that my family was not that for me. And because of what I've shared, I'm developing that, but that's a trust that has to be earned back. And I understand that.
Hmm.
But I have other guys and other people that have said, man, that really sucks. What can I do to help you out? Some of them are in the Rosenberg group. Some of them are from other groups that I'm in. And I have a friend of mine that lives in Virginia, and we talk on on polo. We do polos quite often. And he's like, you don't just have to tell me when things are good. He says, when you're having a hard time, you can let me know about that too. He said, and it's like, yeah, but I don't want you to see my bad stuff. I don't want you to see that I'm screwing this all up, that I don't know what to do. I don't want you to see that side of me. And that's something I'm still working with
They
in
say a
there.
true friend is someone who knows everything about you and likes you anyway. Okay, think about that. A true friend is someone who knows everything about you and likes you anyway. Okay, because you have people in your life that you wouldn't judge, right? That if they shared their bad stuff with you, right? You would say, "Wow, this person trusts me enough with their deep dark secrets to be able to listen and help them out." Yet we hide our own because we're special, right? We need to be the leader. We need to be that that the rock or whatever, right? So, and Dave, I'll tell you that probably the biggest thing that's helped me in my coaching business is just being real, and letting people know, I don't have it figured out. I got six Ironman finishes hanging on the wall, but right now I'm overweight and that needs to get fixed. So like I don't have it figured out. And so we think that everybody that's either a lap ahead of us in life or looks better online has it figured out, but they don't. Everybody's got their own stuff. And so good for you for availing yourself to the process and leaning in, because like success in business doesn't mean anything if you come home and there's no one there, figuratively or literally, right?
Yeah.
And they say,
Yeah.
yeah, great job. We're out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, thank you for sharing that stuff. Let's talk about the future a little bit. Okay. What are you most excited? We're coming into 2026, right? Been through
Yeah.
everything. Like we get ready to hit that reset button, baby, right? What are you most excited about in business and in life in the next 12 months?
In business wise, I am really excited about learning what a plan is going to be to move along, to take our business from, you know, the I'm going to say this out loud here and then we get held accountable for it to
Mm-hmm.
say, our goal is $1 million in revenue this year. And I
All right.
understand that revenue and that's about, because we're at about 400, this year. Right now, I think we'll probably end up about
Big jump.
400. So a big jump onto there. But it's finally being excited with being with a group to where I was like, I feel like I'm in the right place where I can actually do that and move me along. They've got the new program coming out. It's going to take work on my part. One of the things I was told is like, you think there's going to be a magic pill that's going to change everything and it's just going to happen. And I wish it was, because I would buy as many of those as I could. But understanding that I'm able to do that. You know what? I can put the work in, and I'm involved with other people who either have done that or are close to doing it, and they're wanting to help me out. So I'm really excited for that. Taking and learning how to get the name of our business out, building a business to where I'm not responsible for everything.
Yeah.
Without doing everything too. Yeah. Well, the problem is I like doing this stuff. I really like it, but it's like, golly, okay, it's not the place for me. So
right.
I'm looking.
But I don't like being exhausted.
Exactly. Or like having to do everything on my own. But so I'm really looking forward to that. We're putting things into place now that have to happen. Going along with your stuff where you're talking about your standards. I'd never thought about those before. And so I know one of the things you talked about earlier today, and I was like, it's these 3 standards on, my personal, professional, and physical. And it's like, all right, let's do this and actually do it. Don't get started. And then when it gets hard, go, fizzle out, a quarter in. So I'm really looking forward to that. Personal wise, just doing what I'm doing. I'm looking into some other areas, looking at some counseling that can help me out to figure out why is it that, one, I didn't see these things coming, and why I felt it was okay. In working through some of those. 100% honesty, I am really looking forward to the man I'm going to see at the end of 2026.
That's cool. Well, to that end, what's your definition, personal definition of success right now? Understanding that may change.
Personal definition right now. I think that for me personally, that when I go to bed at night, I want to be able to say, I did everything. I didn't waste time today. I was productive, and I did what I said I was going to do today. It's been a problem. And looking at myself in the mirror and saying, it was a good day.
Yeah.
And being able to have that be what I look for. Because I have had to look at saying, back to what you were saying, if the man's not right, the business isn't going to be right. And saying, all right, this guy is not as screwed up as he was a couple months ago, but he's, still some things that aren't in alignment yet.
Yeah. But to that end, like if we checked in with your family in a year, what would you want them to say about you?
That we like being around Dad.
There you go. Yeah. Simple.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. We know what Dave we're going to get,
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And we can count on him.
Yeah. There you go. Dude, this has been fun for me anyway. I know it was fun for you, but I hope you share this with them. With them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, you and I have been around each other a bit and had some calls. You're a good dude. Okay. And sometimes we lose our way a little bit in the way that we treat others, and particularly family, because we figure, I wouldn't dare say something like that to somebody that I wasn't related to. Right. So we have to be careful, very careful. I've learned that myself. As we wrap up here, I know you got to get back to the job site. A couple of questions I like to ask everybody that comes on, and anybody that's watched this a bit knows what's coming. You've read the book, Finding Your Edge, that I put out earlier this year. And I talk about your edge and that it's already in you, and that your edge is where you go when the proverbial shit hits the fan, so to speak, and what you bring to the table that others don't, and how you show up in a way that maybe others don't. Okay, so I like to ask everybody, what's your edge?
To be 100% honest, personally wise, I don't know what that is right now. I feel like I'm learning that. But business wise, there isn't anybody that knows, that can handle and figure out workarounds better than I can.
Right.
I'm a problem solver with it. And the edge that I bring to people is that there's the confidence that I have in my abilities for construction. They don't waver at all. And that comes out when I talk to people, that I am the right guy for the job each time.
I like it.
Letting people know that they're being heard with what they're wanting. I'm not trying to jam their ideas into my bucket. I'm there to look at what they want and help them figure out how to make it work.
Interestingly, if you hadn't said business before that, that literally could have been personal as well. Play this back when you get a chance and listen to that. Good stuff. Dave, what do you want people to know? I mean, I'm gonna shut my mic off here, so to speak. Give you the floor as we go out the door. Whether it's something that you've learned personally over the years, or something some contractor should know that you wish you could share. Just simply, what would you like people to know?
I'd like for people to know that it's okay, and it's actually more a matter of strength to take and ask for help, and to lean and to take and trust other people. Literally, as I was getting ready for this call, I was like, what am I going to let show?
Right.
What part of Dave is actually going to come out? How much of a wall am I going to put up? And there was still a little bit. It didn't live on everything, but I feel that you can't keep it up forever. You can't keep that up forever. And if you let other people really know how you are, they'll actually know you, and they'll like you for who you are, not trying to make yourself, well, I think this is what people want to see, so that's what I'll show them. I think that goes for everybody in there, that it's all right. So you're different, or you look at things differently. Don't have to be a jerk about saying your differences, but it's okay. If I looked at contractors and stuff, it's like, man, get that big old prideful thing off your shoulder as doing it all on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I got guys working on a job right now, and I'm sitting here at home. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
getting ready to go back, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there,
So you have time to
there's,
do it.
there's so much more to it, and learning what it is that you really like to do. And I have learned what I like to do. And so now it's putting that message out and saying, you know what? I got great guys to work with into here, but I can take your ideas and your dreams, and we can work them together and make them happen, and realize what you're good at, and embrace that.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't know a better example of the saying that we're all a work in progress than what I just saw here over the last 40 minutes. Okay, because I commend you. The stuff that you shared, and you were, thought, well, maybe how much am I going to show? And this maybe a weakness. That's a strength. Okay, I hope you look back on this 45 minutes in a year and go, that was the day. That was the day I decided that I was going to move forward with everything. Like I said, the business isn't the business if we don't build the man and create the person that can stand behind it. And to do that, we need all the people in your household and the people around you to believe in you and be behind you, because it's not fun at times. It's a lonely pursuit. It can be. You got to reach out. And as I've been saying lately, you got to deal them in. You got to deal them in, or they're just on an island and they don't know what's going on. Okay. So good for you. I appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time. I know I told you to only keep you about 20 minutes, but I mean, some of that's your fault too. You're a bit of a talker.
Whoa, wait a minute. It's not my podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, man, listen, I've grown to know you, grown to love you. I appreciate seeing you in the mornings. You're one of the people that's on my what I call my live every day.
Yeah.
You're right there. Dave Davis from Denver. We appreciate you. I appreciate, how you showed up today, because whether you think so or not, what you just shared is going to help somebody. Okay. I mean, that's just pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad.
So,
I'm glad.
yeah. Guys, the Summit Podcast. This is Dave Davis from Denver, AKA Seatbelt Dave, as we know him and love him, part of our group in the Rosenberg community. Dave will do it again. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. We're out. Take care.